The January 6th pipe bomb narrative is about to collapse. The story is being buried, of course, by the mainstream media, so we want to shed as much light on it as possible here on Redacted. We now have some bombshell developments in the January 6th pipe bomb hoax and the FBI cover-up portion of the story that we want to bring to you. We now know incontrovertibly that the FBI participated in the smokescreen and potential cover-up of this hoax. We'll get to that part of the story in a moment. And we now know, by the way, the identity of the guy who was seen here tipping off police and the Secret Service about the pipe bomb. You can see him walking over to the police and then to the Secret Service and letting them know about that pipe bomb that was sitting on the bench of the DNC right out in front. We also now know that thanks to Congressman Thomas Massie last night, we know this about the backpack guy. Of course, all of this makes sense. So here is the backpack guy, the original backpack guy on January 5th, of course, dropping the bombs in multiple locations. Of course, all of this makes sense when you think about it for a second. Why can't the FBI track down and then you find backpack guy who planted the pipe bombs? They have video footage of the guy, as you can see right here, leaving the bombs. They have footage of him going to a car. They have footage of him using the subway. They have cell phone tracking data. He pulls the phone out while he's sitting on the bench. And the bomb component parts that would lead them directly to this guy. Now, according to former FBI agent, FBI bomb expert, those component parts are like having a fingerprint. You know exactly where they came from.
Every destructive device has a signature, and it's something that is pretty much unique to the person who put that bomb together. The components of the bomb, I've worked bombing cases in the past where the components have actually led us to the neighborhood of where the bomber was. Here, the FBI has the components. They've gone through them.
Yeah, they do. And it's really surprising that nearby the FBI, they use the exact same pipe bombs at their FBI training facility.
Yeah, but that guy's got a super stealth outfit of a gray sweatshirt and sweatpants.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
It's like ninja level disguise.
But the fact that these particular pipe bombs are the exact ones that they use at the FBI training facility nearby.
That's also very fishy, isn't it?
Like if you had to put this two and two together, you're like, okay, where did you come up with this idea? And oh, by the way, they don't work. They're not real pipe bombs. So where did you get these phony looking pipe bombs? Down to the wiring and the kitchen timers that the FBI uses down the street at their training facility. Where did you get these? So the FBI can continue this charade, and they don't know who this guy is. But of course they do. They know exactly who this guy is. But we're not stupid. They continue to spin this yarn. Why don't we know who the backpack guy is? Why don't they know who he is? The answer is because they don't want to let us know. They were involved, of course, from the very beginning in this cover-up and hoax, and they don't want us to know the involvement of this. Just for some context here, here is backpack guy.
Tonight, the FBI releasing new video of the person suspected of planting those pipe bombs the night before the Capitol riot. And the FBI officially confirming those pipe bombs placed at the Democratic and Republican National Committee headquarters could kill.
These pipe bombs were viable devices that could have been detonated, resulting in serious injury or death.
The video offering specific detail on the suspect's movements. At 7:40, the suspect seen walking along this residential street. Investigators interested in their somewhat unusual gait. Moments later, a person walking a dog passes by. By 7:52, the suspect has made it to the DNC headquarters. The suspect sits on a bench and appears to fumble with that backpack. A bomb is later discovered in the bush adjacent to the bench. At 8:14, the same suspect walking down an alley next to the RNC headquarters. A bomb placed there as well before exiting the area, walking past the Capitol Hill Club. The FBI hinting at a profile as it asks for the public's help.
They want your help until they don't. So here's the profile they put out, seeking information, pipe bombs in Washington, D.C. Here's the guy. Here are the sneakers. Here's the Nike Air sneakers, the Michael Jordan sneakers. Here are the pipe bombs that conveniently look exactly like the ones we use at our training facility down the street. According to friend of the show, Kyle Seraphin, former FBI agent Kyle Seraphin, whistleblower Kyle Seraphin, American hero Kyle Seraphin, he led FBI surveillance teams. He told the Daily Wire that shortly after January 6th, a counterintelligence team met him at a firehouse in Falls Church, Virginia, to brief him on the next surveillance target. What was their next mission? Who was that target? Well, none other than the person of interest in the pipe bombing story. Was it the man himself? We don't know, but it was a person of interest. Kyle Seraphin was never confirmed as to whether or not this was the actual guy or not, but it was the person of interest. They had security footage that allowed Kyle and the team to follow this guy and backpack guy down into the metro station after he planted the bombs. And then they identified the fare card that he used to get on the metro. That fare card then allowed them to determine that the person got off a metro stop in Northern Virginia, where surveillance footage showed the person entering a car. Both the car and the fare card were then in the name of the same exact human being, who is a retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant, who is now working as a contractor with a security clearance, Kyle said. Now, Seraphin and his team were assigned to stake out the person's row home for a number of days. They were watching him. But the FBI then blocked the request to interview this person. And then they were called off the target. Nope, all right, you're done. You got a little too close to the stove. Completely taken off the case, and then sent to look into other January 6th individuals who were just around the Capitol that day, other, as Kyle described it, low priority targets. You're literally watching the guy who planted the bombs, probably person of interest. But you're pulled off of that. So what happened? Well, higher ups told them to stand down. Nothing to see here. I guess they were running this like charade and thought, well, that's enough. An even bigger bombshell, though, was dropped last night by Congressman Thomas Massie. Actually, I don't know that it's a bigger bombshell. They're both huge, right? Who is the mysterious guy tipping off police? You can see here in just moments, he walks up to, of course, the police car, and then in the black car, here he comes. This is the other backpack guy. He walks up and lets the police know at 1:05 p.m., precisely the same time that stuff was happening at the Capitol building, right? So he there talks to the police officers. They don't do anything. They continue eating their lunch and they sit there for another few minutes. Oh, there's a pipe bomb over there on the bench right next to our cars. And oh, and by the way, Kamala Harris is in the building. That's her Secret Service detail.
That's cool.
So then he walks around the other side and then nothing happens.
I'm going to finish my lunch.
I'm just going to hang out for another few minutes. Nothing big deal. So who is this mysterious guy tipping off police that there's a pipe bomb? Well, Thomas Massie asked FBI Director Christopher Wray that very question. Who is this guy, and why won't you tell us who he is? Watch.
Who walked by that bench and then went up to the police and the detail. Didn't do that accidentally. They had a purpose in mind, and that what transpired after that was the result of information that person gave to them. If that person found the pipe bomb, would they be a suspect?
Well, again, I don't want to speculate about specific individuals. I will tell you that we have done thousands of interviews, reviewed something like 40,000 video files, of which this is one, assessed 500-something tips.
Have you interviewed that
the
person?
Devices. We have conducted all logical investigative steps and interviewed all logical individuals at this
Then
point.
you need, it's 900 days. You need to tell us what you found, because we're finding stuff you haven't released into the public.
So, of course, that was last July. Well, Massie finally found out who he was. Who was that guy? Who was Backpack Guy? And told Matt Gaetz this last night on his show. Watch.
You recently met with Capitol Police.
Correct. Today.
And what did you learn in that meeting?
I learned that Backpack Guy, January 6th Backpack Guy, not to be confused with January 5th Backpack Person. Backpack Guy was a non-uniform, plainclothes police officer in the employ of the Capitol Hill Police.
What?
The person who found the pipe bomb, the person who, D'Antuono, who was leading the investigation, say, oh yeah, the person who found it, it'd be investigation 101, that they would be a suspect initially until ruled out. You're saying that person was an undercover, plainclothes Capitol Police officer, and the Capitol Police confirmed that to you today?
They confirmed that to me today, yes.
Okay.
What? I mean, what? And so to Thomas Massie's point, what the hell? It seemed like when he was interviewing Chris Wray, he said, this guy had a purpose. He knew exactly what he was doing. He walks up, He sees this pipe bomb. He goes directly to the police. He goes right to then he has the wherewithal. Like, if you don't know who these people are, right, do you think to also go to the black car and talk to the Secret Service? No, you're like kind of panicking. I don't know what you're going to do. He knows exactly where he's going, what to do. And it's precisely at the same time that stuff is happening at the Capitol building. What the hell? So this is an unbelievable story. Darren Beattie, of course, from Revolver News, who has been all over this story from the very beginning. He has kept this story front and center like no one else. He's done an amazing job. Darren's going to be on the show next week. Darren said this last night. He said, the plot thickens. Damning new details emerge in the January 6th pipe bomb cover-up. Before learning of the information in this piece, we would have said the chance of January 6th pipe bombs being a hoax and cover-up were 99%, leaving a 1% chance that some bizarre, exotic, but plausible and innocent explanation could be given for the anomalies we've covered. Now we're in a position to rule out the remaining 1% of doubt. The January 6 pipe bombs are 100% a hoax and 100% a cover-up. What's more, we know who is covering it up. Stay tuned, he says. When this fully blows up, it'll be the biggest story in the country and the biggest scandal in recent American history. Of course, the mainstream media won't cover the story.
They don't give a crap.
They don't give a crap. But we do, and we're going to continue to stay on this story. I said Darren Beattie from Revolver News is going to join us next week here on the show as this story develops. I mean, we have so many questions about it, right? But one thing that absolutely stands out to me, the Secret Service, and if I've gone to presidential events, I've covered presidential speeches, of course, and the Secret Service arrives 3 days ahead of time to do sweeps, to secure the area, right? And not every situation can they do that. Big events, of course, they're doing that. But Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, is there in the building. The Secret Service arrived hours beforehand to do a sweep of this building. They're literally parked right next to a pipe bomb? Really? The Secret Service is parked next to a pipe bomb. And it wasn't like it was hidden in the bushes. It was out in plain sight by the park bench.
And there's footage of them actually letting kids walk across the street right past where the bomb is.
Exactly. Not before. After that backpack guy goes up and tells them, yes, you see a group of school children just walking casually across the street, and they are there. The Secret Service just standing there on the street. Now, I've heard people say, well, they didn't want to probably panic and panic children. No, you don't have to panic anybody by just directing the children away from the scene. Like, that's not like, oh my God, there's a bomb. They're not going to do that. But they could say, children, we kindly ask you to cross over the other side of the street. And police officers are driving by. There's a police car that drives by up the street on its way to presumably to the Capitol building. You don't mean you could park one of those SUVs right there blocking that intersection? It's I'm sorry, but
an unknown explosive device, if you know there's an unknown explosive device, that's one of those points where I think you don't want to tell people, now calmly, just walk. It's like, get out of here.
Get the heck out of here.
You want people panicked at that point. Get the heck out of here. Go. It's not like, okay, everybody just calmly walk the other way. We've got an unknown explosive device. No, panic. That's a good time for it.
Yeah. I mean, and also think about it as a father, right? What I would do if I saw children walking towards a bomb.
Right.
I mean, I would go out in the middle of traffic and stop people from driving, and I'd direct the kids down the block.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to panic them. You got to run right now, kids. You 7-year-olds. But I'd run the other way and carry these kids out of here.
It's human instinct to know if there's danger in this direction, stop other humans going that direction.
Right. It's instinctual.
My 7-year-old, we were on a walk and there was a bear. And we turned around, there was a lady running, and she was like this, we got to stop that lady from running towards the bear. Like, a child knows this, right? You
exactly.
don't let people go anywhere near danger. We all should know this collectively.
It's an unbelievable story, and the fact that we know who this guy is. I mean, we know who this bomber is at this point, right? I mean, you have the FBI trying to hide this now, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time now until we get a name. But I mean, I think the revelation, though, that we learned from Kyle Seraphin is amazing, that this guy was an retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant who is now working as a contractor with a security clearance. Okay. One of the biggest cover-ups, and as Darren Beattie said, one of the biggest scandals in American history. We'll see if the American media, the Western media, covers it. It's an unbelievable story. Let us know your thoughts on this story. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. And we will see you next time, everyone.